date. But let's get started today with, are you tired of swiping right and left? Well, this one is for you. Our first guest is a professional matchmaker helping singles break through their poor dating habits and find real love. She just launched a new book called Modern Dating Sucks. Here's my conversation with Jackie Dorman. Jackie, good to see you. Let's just start with kind of a broad question, but why does modern dating feel so exhausting right now to so many people?
Well, first of all, I think that people are just have high cortisol just in general. I think the world's kind of on fire and everyone feels exhausted by social. They feel exhausted by the news. They feel exhausted by, looking at screens. And a lot of modern dating has to do with technology. And I think people are super burnt out with it.
What inspired, you just wrote a new book, congrats on that. The new book called Modern Dating Sucks, a matchmaker's guide to finding love in a swipe left world. Was there a particular inspiration for your book or have you always been writing it?
No, I actually am a dating coach and a matchmaker, so I've helped over 1,600 people get married. So this is field work. I have been in the field with singles for many years, decades actually, and modern dating sucks. It's not the way that we dated. I don't know if you know this or not, but modern dating is about 100 years old. And so the way that we've dated in the last 100 years is very different than the way, we started out as a society. And people are they're just not made for it. They are not made to meet strangers on the internet. That used to be scary. Now it's called Tuesday. And people they don't like it. And there's a reason why, because we're not hardwired for it at all.
One of the things my mom says, Jackie, she's like, there's just too many choices these days. We didn't have all these choices. So let's talk about
she's not wrong. She's not wrong. Actually, dating apps were programmed to be like slot machines. So it's a lot like gambling, like your mom's saying, maybe the next one's going to be the big winner. Maybe the next one's going to be the big winner. So we're not wired for that.
I've never thought of it like that. That's insane behavior, but I have so many friends that have taken part in it. Let's talk then the biggest mistakes people make when they're trying to find love.
The biggest mistake that people make, and I go over this in my new book, is just really not being clear about what you need. A lot of people think they know what they want, but they don't really know what they need. So getting clear about what your non-negotiables are versus your preferences, getting clear about whether you really are relationship ready. A lot of people think they want a relationship, but they don't have even room in their life for a serious commitment. And so once you get clear on those things, you have a tendency to meet people that are clear as well. When you're confused, you have a tendency to attract confused people as well.
That's a word right there. And I have to say, you say dating isn't just about finding the right person. It's about becoming ready for the right relationship. I want to say that louder for the people in the back, but explain what you mean by that.
Well, the version of commitment that you want is the thing. The version of what you think a relationship should look like is the thing. And you need to know that about yourself, because if you don't, then you're going to be wasting time with people who don't have the same viewpoint about commitment, about what a relationship looks like. And so the more ready you can become about knowing yourself and what you want and what you need, the more clear you will be. And actually, the quicker you'll be able to weed out people that don't want the same.
Wait, Jackie, let me ask you this. How can you tell if it's a real connection between you and somebody else, or it's just a lot of chemistry happening, especially when you are initially supposed to be attracted to somebody's picture? How can you decipher the difference?
I mean, we all want chemistry. Chemistry, that word is doing all the heavy lifting in relationships. Is there chemistry? Are we attracted? And I'm not against attraction. I'm not telling people to marry someone they're not attracted to, but attraction shouldn't be driving the bus. It should be on the bus, but it shouldn't be driving the bus. In early relationship, the first few dates, you should be looking for compatibility. You should be looking for consistency. You should be looking for character. Those C words are more important than chemistry, because a lot of times when we feel like really visceral chemistry right away, that usually burns out real fast.
True. Okay, what would you, to somebody who's watching right now and they're saying, I feel like I'm getting, like you said, exhausted, I'm running out of time, I'm losing hope, what advice would you give them?
they're not clear. That it just really comes back to them. If they feel like they're not meeting anyone out there that's really serious about relationship, then they have to get serious about finding out, what does relationship mean to them, and where did they learn what it's supposed to feel like and look like when it shows up. So many people are just, hooked on rom-coms or hooked on ideas that are just really not real life. And so when we sit down and get clear, we will attract more clear people. So if you feel exhausted, it's probably because you're just doing it without the right tools and without the right knowledge.
I know, all those movies in the 90s really did a number on us, Jackie. I blame them. Okay.
They really did.
Well, the last question, what is one simple shift that singles can make this week to improve their dating life?
Do a dating autopsy. Take a look at your last 5 dates. What did they have in common? What was different about them? Why didn't they work out? Maybe even your last 2 or 3 relationships or situationships, you will see a pattern. And when you see that pattern, be willing to dig into where the common denominator is you. And switching that stuff, starting to take a deeper look, that is really going to make a big change when you get back out there.
Jackie, congrats on your new book. Thank you for your time today. I hope you get your own show because quite frankly, you're very fascinating and I could listen to you all day. So thanks for being here. I'm obsessed. You can check out her website, JackieDorman.com, to learn more. Coming up, we take a